What is up, guys? This is Pinzo back with another video today, and what I have for you guys is a New World build guide. This is not my usual kind of content, but I've been grinding a bunch of New World. I am a New World enjoyer, and I've got my build finished, so I really wanted to share it with you guys. So I figured, why not just grind out a YouTube video for this? Shouldn't be too hard, I say before I edit it. But this is the build guide that we've got today. So this is a lightning damage build. This is my favorite build that I've made so far. I have a couple of other completed builds that I don't like quite as much as this one. This one's the most fun, in my opinion. So this is a build that is made for PvE. So asterisk here, PvE build. The Warhammer, pretty bad in PvP. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. So this is primarily a PvE build. I've been running this on M2s and M3s for the last week or two, trying to finish it, and I finally got it all, and the build was slamming when it wasn't finished, and so it extra slams, of course, now that it is finished. So this is a build utilizing primarily Spark of Mjolnir. This is one of the artifacts. I think this is from the Depths, I want to say, is the dungeon that this is from. I have to correct that later if it's not. But this is a really good artifact. So this, obviously, the main gimmick that it has is that it converts most of its damage into lightning damage. However, something that gets a little overlooked, in my opinion, is the fact that you deal 20% more damage, more lightning damage, that is, with both weapons. So slotting in a gem or a rune glass to your secondary weapon can give you a decent amount of extra damage. On top of that, the rest of this is good. I did upgrade mine with Trenchant Strikes. Heavy melees deal more damage. This is... The amount of damage you get off of this is nuts. So this is highly recommended for what I would go for the upgrade. The other option, in my opinion, is Trenchant Rend, which will reduce armor on heavy attacks. I think that it's okay. I don't think it's as good as Trenchant Strikes. The secondary weapon for this is Hatchet. I'll explain this later. If you guys want to skip along, I'll have everything timestamped for attributes, weapon mastery, gear, all that kind of stuff. I'll have everything timestamped. So if you guys want to skip along, go for it. But yeah, Hatchet is the second one, and I'll explain that later. As for the other artifacts we're running, we are running a medium equip load with Void Dark Plate. This gives you so much. So much. So many people I've seen think that this is a tank-only item, and I think that's just incorrect. I think this is insane on a medium equip load DPS build, and I highly recommend it. I don't have mine upgraded. If I were to upgrade it, I would probably put health on it, but I don't want to spend 40,000 on adamantine to be able to upgrade this. So I'm not going to do that. But yes, I would probably put health on this. As for the other artifact, we are running Endless Thirst. I don't think this is a must. I think this is a good item. I don't think it's a must. You can get away with something else. The main reason that I like Endless Thirst over some of the other earrings is the fact that you can drink mana potions to get the effect. And I think that's actually pretty powerful. Drink a mana potion, gain 10% empower, 20% fortify. I think both of those are pretty useful, especially because it increases the cooldown on your health potions. You can use this. You can see like my build right here. I'm running mana potions, health potions, and regen potions. I just think it's useful to be able to grab an extra fortify every now and then. You're not using it for empower very much, but for fortify, it's pretty useful. So that's what I recommend. As for the rest of the build, it's honestly pretty simple. You put lightning harnessing on everything, and then you put an electrified rune glass in it, and then that's about it. You can go for whatever perks you want. As for what I highly recommend, refreshing, really good. I don't think you need 4 stacks of it in this build, to be completely honest, but I think that 3 is pretty necessary because of the way that you have refreshing Mighty Gavel on Spark of Mjolnir. I don't think you necessarily need a crazy amount of refreshing, but I would go for 2 or 3 personally. Other than that, health, obviously really good. Grit ward, pretty good. You have grit most of the time on this build. Other than that, yeah, again, you can slot whatever gems you want in here. I've kind of split mine between opals, diamonds, onyx, just to kind of split my defenses. You can stack this. If you have the ability to craft new rune glasses every week, you can put in gems for the dungeon that you want to grind for if you're trying to finish an M3, that kind of thing. You can put those in for the week. Other than that, the amulets, this is just good. Health, refreshing, alchemist reprieve, all good perks. And then the ring, this is the other one that has a specific perk you need. Lightning damage, really good. Other than that, hardy, really good. This is best in slot. This is 100% best in slot. This is a ring you can craft from the gypsum kiln, which makes it pretty easy to get. However, what you craft from the gypsum kiln only has 2 guaranteed perks on it, which are leeching and hardy. So if you want lightning damage, you can use a jewelry matrix with a bolt of corrupted cloth, and that is the mod that you need to get lightning damage. If not, you can roll this, which is what I did. I rolled this. I think I crafted 4 or 5 of them and got really lucky that I got lightning damage on one of them. And this is best in slot. This is what you want. Other than that, none of my other stuff is realistically best in slot. I think my hatchet is, in my opinion, it is. Keenly Jagged, really good. Any kind of bleed damage that you can get on a secondary weapon is good, because in this build, you want to have your hammer out most of the time. The reason for that, just to explain further, is that your hammer is 99% lightning damage and your hatchet is 40% lightning damage. So when you have, this is a total of 25. Right now, it's 25% extra lightning damage in the rest of the build, plus the 20% that Mjolnir's Blessing gives, which is 20% more with both weapons. So 45% extra lightning damage. It's 45% extra on 99% lightning damage, or 45% extra on 40% lightning damage. So obviously the 99% more, you're doing a lot more damage. So you're gonna have Mjolnir out most of the time. The hatchet, I like Keenly Jagged. I like the Rune Glass to do Surge. This is an electrified topaz, so when you hit someone, it inflicts Surge, which is lightning bleed. So just bonus lightning damage over time. You're not going to have hatchet out very much, but yeah. Quick side note, just before we get into the weapon attributes and stuff, you can run this with a light equip load using Tumbler's Feet Wraps. I don't think it's as good, to be completely honest with you. I don't think it's quite as good. You do get more empowered. You do more damage. Like, that's obviously a given. You do a lot more damage with this build. A lot, maybe not so much. You guys are hopefully seeing some flashes here and there of me running dungeons. You can see, I mean, with the medium build, you can hit, 10, 12, 13,000 damage crits, which is really good. With Tumbler Feet Wraps, that number goes up to about 15,000 at the high end against enemies that are weak to your damage type. But overall, I just don't think it's quite as worth it. I really like the medium build. It makes you really, really tanky. I have 2,000 of each defense. And the main thing for this is that on M2s specifically, there are a lot of mechanics that are going to one-shot you. That's just how it is. In an M2, a lot of things are going to one-shot DPS. With Void Darkplate on this tank build, or on this medium build, you can survive them, which is kind of nuts, actually. You can survive a lot of one-shot mechanics on M2s. On M3s, you're probably still getting one-shot, I'm going to be honest with you. But on M2s specifically, you can survive a lot of one-shot mechanics, which is nichely useful. So as for the weapon masteries, we'll jump into the Warhammer, because this one's pretty simple. You're basically taking all the Juggernaut stuff to make you do more damage. The main thing about this build that is important with the weapon masteries is this is the most important skill on your build, okay? You might think it's Mighty Gavel. It's not. Mighty Gavel is good, but this is the most important skill on your build. Armor Breaker inflicts rend for 30% for 10 seconds. It's nuts. This is the most important thing. The other thing this does is it makes you useful team support, right? A lot of people won't run M3s if you don't have like a Spear Greatsword player because of how much rend they can apply. But with this build, you can do the same thing. So 30% rend on your Armor Breaker is really good. It makes you hit a lot harder. Other than that, the other random stuff is mostly do more damage, take some less damage, that kind of stuff. Your secondary weapon. This one looks weird. So we'll go through the normal stuff first. Full through the Berserker side, you want Defy Death. This becomes useful if you need to survive something that you're not going to be able to dodge. You can swap the Hatchet. This is mostly damage. Now here's the weird part. You're running Rending Throw. Rending Throw is low-key maybe the best ability in this entire build. 20% rend for 10 seconds is nuts. It's crazy. Plus, the fact that it's on a 7-second cooldown means that you essentially have permanent 20% rend with this. Plus, you have the 30% from the upgrade on Armor Breaker. So I don't think they stack linearly, but you have a 20% rend and a 30% rend that you can have up at all times. So that's kind of nuts. It makes you do a lot of damage. Again, it gives you team support. It makes your other DPSs do more damage. It makes bosses take a lot more damage a lot faster. This makes you good in M3s. Without these two abilities, I think this build would be bad in M3s. You could run it in M2s, but in M3s, you would be bad. With the rend, this build becomes good. The only other thing that's weird here is that I like the aimed throw. I don't have hatchet out a lot anyway, but with aimed throw, and especially with my hatchet that I have, aimed throw with throwing hatchets, you can apply your surge from your from your rune glass, which is lightning bleed, and you can apply keenly jagged, both from a distance. This week was Ennead was mutated, so on the last boss, if I'm doing a pillar and I'm walking back in, I can throw a couple hatchets and I can get some extra damage on while I'm walking in, which is just, again, it's just extra damage is extra damage, which is why I like it. Other than that, everything in here is pretty standard. Moving to the attributes, this one also pretty standard, to be honest. Dex looks a little weird. My hat right now is a Dex hat, which stinks, but it's what I've got. It was the best thing that I had for heavy headwear. So it's Dex. So I'm losing 10 points here for other stuff. But I do like 25 Dex, and I do like 25 Intelligence. More crit and more crit damage gets a thumbs up for me. I think that's good. You can run this with less con. Personally, on this build, I run con food. I think that it's more useful. It gives you a lot of extra HP. 150 con for the minus to crit damage, I think is pretty useful. You can run this with strength food if you wanted to get up to almost 450 strength. And you can do more damage. I think that it's good. Again, there's a lot of diminishing returns past 400 on damage when you are maxing out a stat. Is it worth it? I think it really just comes down to play style. If you're really faithful in your tank, in your healers, like if you're running in a party, then I would probably eat strength food, But if you're running pubs like I do on a low pop server where people are kind of bad, then I probably recommend the con food. But overall, this is about the stat spread that I would run. So that's the full build. I've been sprinkling in some clips from running dungeons on this. I'll put some more here while I just finish talking about it. This build is really good. I will say the one major downside to this build is getting it. It is very difficult to grind out the gear that you need for this build. And the reason for that is that in order to craft lightning harnessing gear, you need totems of lightning, which is a PvP track item, which is unfortunate, which means it's expensive. So if you want to buy it, it's expensive. If you want to grind it, you can get lightning harnessing. Lightning harnessing is a droppable perk. So the way that I got all my stuff was chest runs and portals. On portals, you can also get Bolt of Corrupted Cloth, which is what you need for lightning damage on your ring. So I would run, Merc, Trib, Imp. Those are all really good chest runs to get lightning harnessing gear. And that's how I did it. I got lucky on my drops, that kind of thing. Well, okay, lucky. I grinded it out for 2 weeks before I got stuff that was good enough, in my opinion, to truly run this. But the build itself does slam. You need lightning harnessing. If you want other specific perks, you can do it. If you don't want to run hatchet, my next recommendation would be spear. I think that you need rend, and spear is the next best render, in my opinion. Obviously, you can get a little more rend off of spear. I still think hatchet's a little better. But yeah, if you want to run this with axe, you can. It's a little more damage, but you have less rend. It'll be worse in M3s, but better in M1s. I've tried this with greatsword. I don't think it's very good. Other than that, again, the items you need, you're pretty much begging for lucky drops out of chests and portals, so good luck. Highly recommended that you guys try and finish this build. If you guys have questions, let me know down below. I really want to know what you guys think. Do you guys think, based on looking at it, if you haven't played it, do you guys think this build is something that would work? Because I can tell you that it does, but do you guys believe me? Do you have any other questions about the rest of the gear? Stuff like that. I would love to answer some, that kind of thing. If you guys liked this video, if you guys liked the New World video, then let me know. This is not my normal kind of content, so I'm branching out a little bit, but I wanted to see if you guys liked this kind of thing. I wanted to share my build mostly. I think this build's really fun, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, but that's going to be it for me today. So as always, guys, if you are new, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave comments down below. And as always, guys, I've been Pinzo. This video's donezo. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.